You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Hello and welcome to Living Full Out Show. My name is Nancy Solari, and today we're going to be talking about releasing toxic triggers out of our life. We all have them. Could be people in our life, could be our environment, could be just our sabotaging ourselves, getting our own way. It could be anything, right? So we want to identify over the show, what is holding you back? Where do you find that you trip and stumble? Who in your life constantly is pointing fingers at you, telling you you're not doing good enough or not doing things right. And we want to find a way to clear that space so that you can step into living your life full out, grabbing your greatness and living out your dreams. Now, also in our next segment, we're going to be joined by our inspirational guest today, Nancy Mckay, who, grew up in an alcoholic family, had a lot of her own self-esteem issues, and then battled all of that, losing her parents, all of that, to then have cancer. But cancer was actually a gift. It woke her up, and she's going to tell us how that was so. And I want to make sure that beyond today's show that you are supported. Remember that if you're on the go, you can look us up in the App Store, or if you have Alexa, just look for Living Full Out Radio. Our 24-hour station is constantly playing shows for you to get motivated. Also, you're welcome to go to livingfullout.com, check out our radio page, and all of our episodes will be waiting there for you. And it's really important to me that you're not out there on your own, that as we're considering, navigating this game of life, that I can help you, that your friends and family can help you spot these triggers even when you can't. Because in life, we don't know what we don't know. And sometimes we have these blinders that do not allow us to see when something is toxic, when it's not serving us. And then the more tricky decision comes when letting it go. How do you do that? And a lot of times people don't want conflict. They're worried about, is the grass really greener on the other side? But then you live in the space of woulda, coulda, what if, and that's all this gray zone, and that's toxic in itself. You don't want to wander down the line in life thinking, what if I hadn't stayed in this relationship? What if I had just followed my gut and went for a different job? What if I had moved to a new location? Would I have kind of grown more as a person? So I want to get us out of that woulda, coulda, shoulda space and have you step into a place of being more confident, telling those triggers in your life, what, I see you, I know what you're doing, I'm on to you. That is how you take your power back. And it's really important that as we go through today's show, that you identify what those triggers are. I know for me, growing up in a domestic violence situation, my dad had anger issues. When I hear a couple fighting, that 10-year-old girl comes out like, I'm ready to go. If they need help, I'm there. I'm ready to call the police. I'm ready to step in. And that's because as a little girl, I was on high alert in my family. Then there's other triggers. Sometimes it may be somebody's voice. Sometimes it may be a scenario where, it's a sound. Maybe you were in an accident and, maybe it's the sound of an ambulance or something, and it stops you. It makes you paralyzed and frozen. The thing that's so important is when we can identify these triggers, now we're able to break them down, and finding out why does this trigger have so much control over me and how can I release it? Because that is the idea of today's show. And, I find that a lot of times for me, I can't always tell what a trigger is. For me, I journal. I do a lot of audio journaling. I also write down into my computer and one piece of paper, I write things. And when I'm able to identify what it is that's holding me back, what it is that's tripping me up, what it is that I fear, then I'm able to look at that, because remember, fear stands for false evidence appearing real. I'm able to look at it and say, should I be validating this concern? Is it in the past and I need to leave it in the past? or is it something that I need to grow from? And so I'm hoping that over the course of the show, you're able to spot that for yourself. Now, I'm getting word from our producer that we do have a caller on the line. Let's go say hello to them and see how they're doing. Hi, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hello.
Hi, welcome to the show.
Hi, Nancy. My name is Nicole. My question for you today is, as a wife, a new mother of a 5-month-old, an active duty soldier, and a full-time graduate student taking 4 courses, how do I manage my work-life balance right now?
Wow. How much sleep do you get?
Say again?
How much sleep do you get?
Well, with a 5-month-old, hit or miss about 6 or 7 hours.
Okay. Because sleep is generally where we're able to get, juiced up, right? We're able to get that clarity we need. We're able to find that sense of peace. That's when we feel the most safe. And we're just kind of in that mode where we can replenish ourselves. So 5 hours of sleep is not bad, not great, right? So what are your other habits that you turn to kind of keep you standing, to keep you strong?
I work out every morning for about 45 minutes or an hour. It's something I really like to do. And then every night before I go to bed for about 45 minutes, I like to read.
Love it. Love it. Love it. So between the 5 hours of sleep, between the being loyal to your workouts, and between the reading and all those are all the positives, right? That's in the positive bucket. But then you got the negative bucket, not negative, but just the commitments, right? So where do you feel that there's the most lack? Do you feel like you just don't get your own time, although you are working out? Or do you feel that there's other endeavors, but you just don't have time to do them?
I think what it is a fear, and it might be because I'm a woman, that I have to be perfect at all areas. I have to be perfect as a mother. I have to be perfect as a wife. I have to be perfect as, a soldier, in my career. And I also can't fail at school, or I won't be able to, reach any of my other goals. So there's this, constant performance pressure, performance anxiety in every aspect. So it's kind of like, it's not that any one of them they're not negative. I love them all, but it's like once one is not in front of me, the next one shows up. It's kind of a constant rotation.
So you're kind of the judge, the jury, right? You're the person on trial. You're all of it, sure. Right? But let's look at this. First of all, do you like perfect people? I mean, really, if you were sitting next to the perfect looking person who said all the perfect things, perfect, would you feel like that's my girl? That's my homegirl?
Well, I think we all hate our Instagram models, right?
Okay, right.
Yeah,
right. So the perfect...
No, of course not.
Right. So the perfect person is not the most relatable person. But you have to look at, okay, I'm not going to say, wake up tomorrow, arms wide open, and say, world, give me challenges, give me mistakes. Okay, I'm not saying you should go that far, okay? Right. But at the same time, in the military, right, when things don't go well, better processes are created, right? Other military men and women learn from those who have, made a mistake or an error. Same goes with being a mom or a dad, right? When we make a mistake, we're like, oh, gosh, I'm never doing that again. Or, I got to get better at that, right? So mistakes, times that we're not perfect, those are actually winning moments. And the times that you maybe slip, you drop a ball, you're late, something doesn't go to plan, those are moments where you're going to do a gulp because it's going to land on you in a place that feels uncomfortable. You're like, I want to be perfect. But that didn't work out like I wanted, right? So it's going to be a gulp moment. The next time you have a gulp moment, I want you to embrace it. I want you to say, you know what? Ooh, Nancy told me about this. Ooh, I was late, or I didn't do things the way I wished I had. But then you take that moment and you say, you know what? How can I be better? How can I do better? I love those moments, okay? And I also want you to know that people who support you in your career, people who love you, they love you unconditionally. You can't lose. You really can't lose as a mom. There are people who have mommy dearest, which is not you, as their moms, and they still love them. Even though they abuse them, they love them, right? It's weird. You know, unconditional love with spouses, same thing. You're not going to be perfect, but you're just going to do your best, and that's all you can ever do. Okay?
Yes, that makes sense.
All right. Thank you so much for calling in, and just have a wonderful day. Thank you.
You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye. And I love that she brought that up, right? She's recognizing what are her triggers. Is it about being perfect, or are there things that throw her off? Stay with us. We're going to be coming right back with our inspirational guest, Nancy Mckay, talking about how she navigated living with an alcoholic family, how she survived cancer, but yet it gave her what she needed to release the toxic triggers in her life. So stay with us. I am Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show. We'll be back.
Hi, professional skateboarder Tony Hawk here with Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck to remind you to get moving every day.
Because when you get moving an hour a day,
you'll have the energy to skate through anything.
Nice play on words, Doc.
That's how I roll, Bugs. So whether you like to work the half pipe,
now that's catching air,
kick the soccer ball around, or dance in your room,
just move it your way
for an hour a day.
The way you like to move, as long as you're moving.
Carve out some time every day and get active. Because it's time to do a 180 on what you think exercise is.
Because it can be whatever you want it to be. So be a player.
Be a player.
Get up and play an hour a day, Doc. Check out how to be a player at letsmove.gov.
Head online to get tips on great ways to get moving every day.
At www.letsmove.gov. Let's hear that one more time, Doc. That's www.letsmove.gov. A message from the Ad Council and HHS.
I'm Nancy Solari, Certified Life and Business Coach. I want to invite you to the Personal Development Bootcamp. During the bootcamp, we're going to be looking at taking those insecurities that you have and getting rid of them. We're also going to look at ways in which you can thrive and live a life full of purpose. Go to livingfullout.com/bootcamp, livingfullout.com/bootcamp to sign up. I believe in you, and here's to you living your life full out.
I'm Sarah, and this is my story.
I'm Ellen, and this is my story.
One night, I was at a bar. I was having fun with my friends.
I
had one too many drinks.
I
got behind the wheel to go home.
I got a cab to go home.
All of a sudden, from out of nowhere, a squirrel ran across the road.
It
happened so quickly, I barely had time to react.
The cabbie barely had time to react.
I swerved.
The cab swerved.
I can't believe it. I hit a guy.
I cannot believe it. The cabbie just missed a guy.
I wish I took a cab.
Thank goodness I took a cab.
You have the choice to save a life. Don't drive buzzed. It's a decision you'll never regret. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
Hey, America, we need to have a little talk. We've got more food than we know what to do with in this country, yet 17 million kids in America are struggling with hunger. Makes no sense. Luckily, the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks has volunteers gathering excess food and getting it to hungry kids. They're kind of like food angels. Hey, become a food angel yourself by supporting Feeding America in your local food bank at feedingamerica.org. We can't do it without your help. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
If you think depression is all in a person's head, you're right. It's a brain illness. And like other illnesses, it has symptoms. Depression can make those who suffer from it feel hopeless. It can even lead to suicide. Learn how to stop depression from taking another life. Call SAVE, Suicide Awareness Voices of Education, 1-888-511-SAVE, on the web at save.org.
I'm Alec Baldwin. Like any parent, I'm concerned about children's health. Many kids don't eat as they should and are at risk for long-term health problems like diabetes and heart disease. But here's good news. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and other low-fat vegetarian foods can protect our kids and keep the rest of the family healthy too. For a free booklet, call the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine at 1-877-685-KIDS or visit www.kidsgethealthy.org.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. With Nancy's expertise, you'll learn how to embrace your potential and strive for success. If you have a question or need further support, send us an email at connect@livingfullout.com. Now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about releasing toxic triggers. And I realize sometimes it's easier said than done, but that is why we bring inspirational guests to the show that have lived it, gone through the fire, crawled through the weeds, come out the other side, and are able to share their insights with us as to how they got through it and today are living full out. Now, our guest today has lived with an alcoholic family. She too herself has battled alcoholism and even cancer. But yet today she's standing strong, and she actually thanks cancer a bit for waking her up. So I'd very much like to welcome Nancy Mckay to the show.
Hi, Nancy. How are you?
I am great, and I just have to say you have a great first name. Love it.
Isn't it a wonderful name?
I haven't met a Nancy I don't like. Yes. Well, Nancy, I wish that, you hadn't gone through in your life all that you did, but that laughter in your voice there, it's because you cracked the code. It's because you came out stronger. So I want to take our audience back here a bit. Okay. I know you grew up with alcohol in your family. Your dad was an alcoholic. Your mom was his drinking buddy. Yep. And she kind of overdrank. And for you, that was a tricky time. Most people kids want to have sleepovers. They want to, have those family dinners. But for you, you just never quite knew what you were going to get with them. And then also, it's rather ironic because I grew up in a domestic violence situation, and my dad used to say, suck it up, right? Get through it. Yep. But your dad used to say, smile. But that used to really get to you. Why?
Yep. Well, because to me it meant that my feelings didn't matter, and that, children were supposed to be seen and not heard, and you were supposed to be agreeable to anything that was happening around you, even if it was not a good situation. And so, it was difficult, and it was like walking on eggshells a good deal of the time.
Well, and it sounds a bit lonely too, because, you were a bit on the chunkier side, you would say, maybe as a child, which I was too, right? I used to love my ice cream and Fruit Loops and all those good things. But then, you also had eyes that were crossed, and I'm legally blind, so I can appreciate that. And you just had a lot of your own insecurities. How much did you desperately need parents that were there for you, that showed up?
Well, I needed them a lot. And, my mom was very compassionate, unless she was drinking. And she was a nurse, and she was, she was wonderful. But if they were drinking, then it was just uncomfortable. They were never abusive per se, and but it was, they certainly could have been more present.
Yeah. Well, you had a lot of love in the home, in the sense of they had a good relationship, good camaraderie. They were really solid drinking buddies, even though they were functional work-wise. And then you obviously went on to drink, but these insecurities, and today we're talking about, releasing these toxic triggers. And, it really did, although you had love in the family, you were desperate to be loved, outer beauty, inner beauty. And you got married at 19 to someone who didn't drink, to someone who was good looking. How much did you need that at that time?
Oh, I I thought I needed it desperately.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I hadn't done a lot of dating in high school, and I thought that this fellow was going to be the one and only guy who ever asked me to marry him, and I thought I better snap up that chance.
And why did it not work out?
Because I actually started to grow a backbone while we were married for the short time that we were, for 2 years. And I realized that I deserved better than what I was going to receive from him, and just from judging from his family and how they interacted with each other. And I thought, you know, I deserve better than this. And so I had to admit defeat. I had a big "I told you so" hanging over my head. And, you know, I got divorced when I was 21.
With that divorce occurring in your life, you know, having kind of stepped away from college to get married, you jumped back into the social scene. But I always find it very interesting, those kids that grow up in a home with a lot of alcohol and kind of reject the fact that their parents drink, you then went on to drink. And how did that happen? You didn't reject it, you welcomed it. You kind of became your parents.
Because it worked for me like it worked for them. You know, it made everything okay. I fit in with my friends, and it was a lot of fun. You know, at that point, I wasn't drinking alcoholically. I was just having a good time. Mm-hmm. And everybody I hung out with was drinking just like me. And so there was no, there were no red flags at that point that something was, that I was headed down a bad road.
Well, it was good that you found that backbone, and it was great because you flourished. You had a good run for many, many years. You moved to Washington. Your career was going well. But then you got the call that your mom got sick. What did she have?
My mom was diagnosed with lung cancer in 1991. Mm-hmm. I was living in Washington, or actually on the Oregon coast at that time. And so I moved back to Denver to help take care of her and, be with my family, so that, I just couldn't be away if she was, sick and struggling and all that so forth. So.
Well, and it's interesting because sometimes, cancer did wake up your mom even because, she started little by little, stopped drinking because she had treatments. Mm-hmm. And that obviously broke the synergy between her and her dad drinking. And didn't he, too, eventually stop?
My dad did quit drinking about 3 months before my mom died in 1995. Mm-hmm. And that was a miracle. I never thought that he would admit that he was an alcoholic, and he did. And he was able to stay sober the first time for about 3 years.
Well, yeah. I wanna pause right there because that is a winning moment. That's good that you had your dad. You lost your mom, but you kind of had your dad back. It was kind of this weird balance. Stay with us, Nancy, because for everybody listening, today we're talking about releasing toxic triggers, and we're hearing Nancy's story. So stay with us. We'll be right back after this break. I'm Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show. We'll be back.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari.
There are many sounds in your day-to-day life. There are sounds that wake you up. Sounds that make you smile. Sounds that energize you. And sounds that help you relax. But there are some sounds that can alert you to danger and can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you information about severe weather events, Amber Alerts, or other emergencies in your area. With critical information from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know, wherever you are. For more information, visit ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hello, my name is Jeffrey, but people in this town call me Maniac. They call me that because I'm the fastest runner in town. But just because everyone knows who I am doesn't mean I belong. I don't really belong anywhere. You see, I'm an orphan, and I wander the streets just looking for a place that I can truly call home. My name is Maniac Mckay, and I'm all alone. Explore new worlds. Read my story in the novel Maniac Mckay by Jerry Spinelli. For other great book ideas, visit your local library or log on to literacy.gov. Brought to you by the Library of Congress and the Ad Council.
Look for the bare necessities.
The bare necessities of healthy living are easier than you think.
You better believe it.
And the food pyramid shows you the way. With just the right amount of exercise and the necessary grains, vegetables, fruits, milk, and meats and beans.
Just the bare necessities of life.
So eat right, be active, and have fun.
Yeah, man.
For your own path to a healthier you, visit mypyramid.gov.
This is really living.
This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Ad Council.
Hi, my name is Nancy Solari, host of the Living Full Out Show. I am excited to let you know that we are now associated with Alexa. If you have Alexa in your house and you didn't know that, go ahead and find Living Full Out because you can hear us anytime you want, and we're there for you to keep you motivated. Go to your app store because we're located there as well. Just look for the Living Full Out radio show. It's important to us that we put out really inspiring programming, but we want to make sure that you have it at your fingertips when you need us most. We never know when those challenges are going to come, when we're going to feel lonely and need that motivation. So just know that when you need us, we're here for you. Check out Alexa, the app stores, or go to livingfullout.com. Here's to you living full out.
What if I could tell you that a full-blown wildfire was going to occur tomorrow right where you live? Tell you exactly which neighborhoods it would engulf and how fast it would do it. The first thing you would do is talk with your loved ones and make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a wildfire will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you make a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait, communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show, and we are continuing our interview with our inspirational guest today, Nancy Mckay, who is sharing with us about growing up in a family who had a lot of alcohol, both of her parents and even herself, early marriage, falling into alcohol herself, and, just now picking up on the fact that her mom had passed away from cancer. So welcome back to the show, Nancy.
Thank you.
Now, it's really great that your dad had, several years of being sober, although as the twists and turns occurred when you were on your engagement trip, he kind of threatened suicide. And then after some time, you actually found out that he had passed away. He'd actually taken his life. And the reason why, you were so sad by his passing was because one Sunday he wanted you to come by and you chose not to. And the reason why I want to start is right there is because, a lot of times I think many people in our audience are told by their parents, hey, stop on by, and excuses or something happens and we don't. And we think we're going to see them tomorrow, but we don't. That moment was big for you. That took you on a tailspin of toxic. Can you share with us about that?
Well, sure. And the Sunday before he died, we had talked on the phone, and my husband and I had just gotten home from a bike ride, and I was on the phone with my dad, and I mentioned that we'd gone for a bike ride, and he said, oh, that's nice. And I heard, oh, you have time to go on a bike ride, but you don't have time to come see me. Now, he didn't say those words, and he didn't say, come on by, and I said, no, I don't have time, but I had this feeling that I should have paid attention to, one of those gut instincts that said I should go over, and I brushed it off, and I didn't, and the next morning I found him dead in his bed from an overdose of alcohol and pills.
And obviously there was sadness, but there was a huge amount of guilt.
Horrible grief. Yeah. Horrible grief and guilt. Mm-hmm. The guilt was palpable for me. And that's what sent me on my, that just ramped up my drinking exponentially.
I know your husband and you at the time, you both kind of would go for the largest bottle of wine you could find, and he was your drinking buddy. And although I find that what people say, just like what you heard your dad or you thought your dad said, there was a night when you had gone to a happy hour with your husband. You got home, you wanted more to drink, but there wasn't any. Right. And he said something to you that again put you into a spin. Yep. What did he say, and what did you do next?
He said, well, I think you've had enough. And I went off the deep end and was angry, and then was felt incredibly worthless. And because of that, I determined that everyone would be better off without me, and I got my husband's handgun out of the nightstand and put it to my head. And the safety was on, thank God. And when I realized that and took the safety off, the gun was not pointed at my head, and the only thing that got shot was an innocent pillow on the bed. So, that was a pivotal moment.
And it's interesting because there's many, many moments in our life where they're kind of like wake-up calls, and that was a wake-up call. I mean, a wake-up call
definitely.
In the sense of you saying, I'm done drinking.
Yep.
But
that was it.
But life had more in store for Nancy. Apparently, you needed a bigger wake-up call. And so, ironically, around the same time that your mom had been diagnosed with her lung cancer, which turned into brain cancer, what news did you get?
Well, I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer on my 58th birthday. Mm-hmm. And my mom was diagnosed with lung cancer when she was 59. And so I had held the belief that if I could make it to 59 or through 59 without a cancer diagnosis, I'd be home free. And so I was diagnosed at 58, a year early.
Knock, knock, another wake-up call.
Yep. Exactly. Yep.
And I admire all those that go through cancer, radiation, chemo, and you did that. Many, many rounds. But why was cancer, beyond the suicide attempt, beyond losing both of your parents, why was cancer the biggest wake-up call of all?
Well, because it really defined my mortality to me. it made me realize that life is really short, and that, things can change on a dime. And we had, shortly after I finished my treatment, I don't know, it was a couple years after, but so, a very dear friend of ours died not too long after that, from a heart attack, and he was in extraordinary health, we thought. He would run up Vail Path 3 times a week, and it was, he was an incredible athlete, and he dropped dead of a heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
And so that really brought home the fact that life is short, and if you're unhappy, it's up to you to do something about that. And so I decided to change my career at the age of 60.
And become a life coach, yeah, and giving back to others, and I can appreciate that. I'm curious though, finding this happy. Everybody just wants their happy. Everybody just wants to be appreciated. They want to fit in, and when we look at your story, we look at so many parallels. Your mom and dad were drinking buddies. Then there was your second husband and you, drinking buddies, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Your dad talks about wanting to commit suicide, you attempt suicide. Your mom gets cancer around 58, you get cancer around 58, 59, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just curious, if I were to look back, that's so many ironic parallels. What do you think about that?
Well, that is interesting. And so one thing that I'm doing differently is I think I'm not satisfied with the status quo. And I am going after my dreams, even though I'm now 63, and I'm not letting anything get in my way.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not giving up. I'm not throwing in the towel. I'm having the best time of my life right now. And I think that that's because I've gone through these difficult periods of time that have really built character and increased my dreams.
You're 63 young. You're just that young.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I'm curious though, Nancy, you're at such a good place now, but so many people in our audience may have kids or maybe themselves who were you back when, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just curious if you could go back and sit down with that 16-year-old, that 5-year-old, who was overweight, crossed eyes, embarrassed by her parents, had no idea what was still to come. What would you say?
Oh, wow, that's such a great question. I think I would hold her hand. I would put both of her hands in my hands, and I would say, don't worry. Don't, things are going to get great. You're going to suffer. You're going to have some difficult times, but you are going to triumph, and you are going to help so many people. And just hang on and hang in and love yourself.
I love that. Well, not only, Nancy, do you have a great name, like we discussed at the beginning, but you are a soul sister to me, and I'm telling you, I'm proud of you. Proud of you. And you go out there, be 63 young, starting that new career, got your handsome stud by your side, handsome hand, and just live life full out. But we really appreciate you sharing your story with our community.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Nancy. Have a great day.
Thank you.
And for everybody listening, I feel so honored each week to be the person on this side of the mic interviewing such amazing guests. But we all have a story, and perhaps you do as well. We would love to hear from you. Reach out to us at connect@livingfullout.com. If you've overcome a health condition, perhaps you were in an accident and had to overcome various injuries. Whatever it is, we learn from each other. We inspire each other, and you too could be a guest on our show. Again, that's connect@livingfullout.com. And as we journey through the rest of the show today, I want everybody to think about what are those toxic triggers, behaviors, people that we need to let go of. So just like Nancy, you too can be 63 young, 25 young, 100 young, whatever that is, right? It's all about finding our happy, finding ourselves to living a life full out. And sometimes it takes a whole lifetime to get there, and sometimes we can figure it out sooner. But I am committed to stand right beside you, and so is our entire Living Full Out team, to help you stay motivated and inspired. So stay with us. We'll be coming right back after this break. I'm Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show. We'll be back.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week, she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
So, Jacqueline.
Yes, Mom?
I wanted to talk to you about something, and... Oh, wait. Hold on. I just got a text.
Oh, wait, Mom. I just got a message. So many comments on my comment. Hey, guys, check out my new video game. Mom, what? Huh? What'd you say?
This weekend, unplug. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Thanks for asking, but I'd rather not send you nude pictures. I'm camera shy. I already said no. It's against my religion. I'm giving my dog a bath. You can have pictures of that. Pressure gives me hives. Under my clothes, I'm a robot. Hold on, let me ask my mom. Sorry, my webcam is broken. I'm worried they'll get passed around school. Unfortunately, I just had my clothes surgically attached to my body. If they got out, I might never be president. I'm already naked, under my clothes. Not even if you were all three Jonas Brothers. I have a rash. I have nudophobia. I have lizard skin. The more you ask, the less I want to. You're not the boss of me. Nudity makes me vomit. I'm a vampire, so I don't show up in pictures anyways. Your badgering has really killed the mood.
When someone is pressuring you to do something you don't want to, how many ways can you say no before they get the message? Let us know at that'snotcool.com. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearms storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
This is a test to find out if you know it all when it comes to children. Name one of the leading killers of U.S. children age 1 to 13. What's the best way to protect children in a car crash? At what age and size should a child start using a booster seat?
Don't assume you know it all when it comes to car seats for your child. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat and know for sure. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
I want to be a warm fleece on a cold day.
Football
I want to be a bike that races around the country.
I want to be a bench on a forest trail.
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org.
Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
Well, I finally did it. My student loan is totally paid off.
What? What about our plan to win the lottery and start living? You know, travel the world on matching yachts, wear enough jewelry to require a bodyguard, vacation on the French Riviera, and then buy it.
You know we're never going to win the lottery, right?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
When it comes to releasing toxic triggers, you really want to identify what makes you feel bad. Where do you feel like you might be self-sabotaging yourself? What do you need to release, whether that's people, whether that's moving to in a new environment, so that you can thrive as you strive to live full out?
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. Nancy is here as a guide to show you how to rise above obstacles and savor each moment. If you have a question, call in live at 800-333-0001. That's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we've been talking about releasing toxic triggers in your life. And just really want you to keep in mind, well, making those decisions is difficult, and you're going to, weigh a lot of pros and cons and maybe not even know what to do in a scenario. There will be, when you make a decision, when you release a person out of your life, when you, protect yourself a bit and even kind of plan out your environment so that you don't have those triggers, it's going to give you freedom. It's going to give you a sense of relief. It's going to allow you to be more creative, be more focused. And you need those qualities in an effort to live full out. So while it may be, tricky and concerning and burdening in the moment, if you can just hang in there and think about the release that you're going to get, the freedom you're going to experiment, then it's all worth it. Now, I'm getting word from a producer that we do have a listener on the line. Let's go say hello to them. Hi, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hi, this is Parisa.
Hi there, how can I help you?
Actually, I have a big problem, and it is hard for me making a decision because actually I think I have overthinking about, and it makes hard for me to finalize and make a decision. So actually, I call you to ask you to help me and advise me how can I handle this process.
Well, let me ask you a question. What is one of the biggest decisions that you're trying to make right now?
Yeah. Actually, because I live in the United States and my husband is living in overseas, so it is hard for me to make a decision. How can I establish my life here and provide enough readiness to he come here?
I see what you're saying. You got kind of a lot to prove to others and yourself, right? And it's hard to decide how do I make a life in a new place, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So what you want to think about is you want to kind of almost visualize. So I invite you today at some point to just let yourself be in a quiet place. Maybe go lay on your bed and shut your eyes, okay? Don't think about the to-do list. Don't think about all the things that are swarming around in your mind that you need to do. I want you to just think about, what would you like your life to look like? Who would the people be that you'd like to have in your life? And really visualize yourself smiling, laughing with those people. And then I want you to visualize yourself doing your ideal career. What are you wearing? You're smiling. You're helping people. You're making money, doing something you love. And then I want you to visualize where you'd like to live. Are you a beach person? Are you somebody who likes the desert? Do you like the woods? What is it that you like? And see yourself being in that environment. Because what I have found in life is when we make decisions and when we're trying to achieve a goal or even a lifestyle change, you have to have some idea of what you're striving for. And it's not going to necessarily always look like that initial vision. It might change. But if you put that vision out there, if you see yourself happy, then the days that are long, paperwork takes forever, right? Meeting the right friends, they don't always come right away. Getting that ideal job can take many, many jobs in between before you find the one that makes you happy. But if you keep your eye on the ball, you keep your eye on what you want, you will get there. You just have to be really, really clear a little bit on that and actually feel the laughter, feel the sense of accomplishment, feel the love, feel the sense of community. Because you want that feeling to get you through those really hard days. Can you do that?
Yes, I tried that.
Okay, well, I know that you're going to do great things because courageously you're calling in, right? And you sounds like you have that you're working towards. So thank you for calling in, and we're going to wish you all the best, okay?
Okay, thank you so much for your advice.
Thank you.
And I have more questions, but I can call you another season and get your advice.
I'm always here for you. Red carpet, absolutely. Thank you for calling in for today. And
thank you so much.
Everybody listening, it is all about living full out. It's about releasing those toxic triggers and saying, you know what, you have no place in my life. Get out of here. You're haunting me. You're holding me back. And you know what? I choose to live full out. I choose to have this amazing life that I'm working so hard for. And remember to have fun. Always laugh. It's just like I was telling that last caller. Envision yourself smiling, but actually smile. Actually laugh. Have fun. That's what life is all about. The entire Living Full Out family thanks you for listening today. I believe in you. Here's to you living full out.
Thank you for listening to the Living Full Out Show with Nancy Solari. To learn more about this program, visit livingfullout.com for the latest episodes. Connect with the Living Full Out community by following us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you have an inspirational story you want to share, email us at connect@livingfullout.com. Here's to you, living full out.